Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Tuesday, April 13th, and they're laughing because it doesn't matter how many times I look at it. I really just can't remember the date from 2 seconds before hitting the start button. But listen, big 24 hours have happened since we were on the air yesterday. Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, so that's really exciting, pushing a lot of the market to the upside. A couple things we're going to touch on today. HSBC, it bans its customers from buying shares of Microstrategy. Why? Because it has now categorized it as a cryptocurrency and part of their crypto ban for purchases. That's interesting, and I'm sure Ryan will have a lot to say about it. A couple of notables. XRP, we all thought the army went back into the woods. The army's back. XRP hitting over $1.80 today, and Dogecoin having quite the rally as well. And stay till the end because Ryan actually has some good analysis thought on Stormx, ticker Stmx. So we're going to run through that and see where Ryan thinks it's heading and if any of us agree with him. Don't forget, if you aren't a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And now I hand it over to CJ and Ryan for the plugs and legal.
Thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion is strictly for educational and informational purposes. Absolutely none of this is investment advice, and you should never listen to us. Never, ever. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global 24/7 community of traders of all ages, all abilities, all backgrounds, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market. If you are not yet a member of Trade the Chain and you want to trade like a crypto insider, head to TradeTheChain.com and check us out.
Don't forget that 14-day free trial. Check it out. And then moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get exclusive trade insights on a weekly basis, access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. You can start your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. Another thing that I do want to mention before we get into the big boards here is one of our veteran technical analysts at Market Rebellion, AJ Monty, otherwise known as the Option Oracle, is going to be going through a lot of various assets, crypto assets, with Monty and myself later tonight. So you'll be able to see his views on those technicals. We're very excited. But yeah, anything you guys want to kind of share before we start?
I think it's good. I think it's good. Oh, just another reminder, we'll be in Miami at the Bitcoin 2021 conference the first week of June. That's going to be exciting. We're gonna, at some point, we're getting a promo code from them for the viewers for tickets. We'll put it down and we'll announce it as soon as we get that code. It's not our fault. But yeah, hope to see everybody there with us.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
So going over down to the coin screener at TradeTheChain.com, we can see that sentiment is fairly bearish here on the hourly after making simultaneous all-time highs in both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's pretty notable, but we'll get into the technicals as well as we go over here to the Bitcoin chart. And as you can see, we've finally broken above that key resistance level on the ascending triangle. And right now, we took that measured move from the previous leg up, and we've essentially extrapolated it to a point of a breakout of roughly 75 to 80K. That's been our target here for quite a while now. I think, can we call that the honey hole?
Whoa, CJ brings back the honey hole.
The
honey pot, maybe? Because it would
have
to
to
go into a hole, right?
Okay, there you go. So a lot of times what we'll see when we break out of ascending triangles like this, we recently saw it with GLM, is we'll see kind of a breakout, maybe a little neutral consolidation, a back test of former resistance that has now formed support before a kind of continuation upward. we haven't seen that sell-off or that back test yet. There have been some people, I'm not necessarily in this kind of group, I would say, but there are a lot who kind of hypothesize that Bitcoin will correct or will fall after the Coinbase IPO tomorrow. I don't think we have that much overlap in the market participants between Bitcoin and the Coinbase IPO. So I think regardless of what Coinbase kind of does, Bitcoin's probably still going to hold this support level at 61 at the very least. But other than that, it's just, we're in a bullish continuation. There's really no reason for me to sell yet. But it's going to be critical. I'm looking for this level to hold if we get a back test of support. And if we go up, that's just great. It's a continuation of the existing breakout.
TJ, do we have a time for that direct listing? Is it going to go at market open, or is it going to be like an IPO where they hold it a little into the late morning, early afternoon? Any idea on how that's going to work? There's always Google. It'll be interesting because I do want to follow. We have such an engulfing bullish candle happening with Bitcoin, and it's been such a big run up over the day. I'm curious to see if the IPO really hurts it or not. I'm also curious to figure out whether that candle is a product of the Coinbase IPO happening. I mean, Ryan, what are your thoughts on that real quick? You think the Bitcoin is moving because of the IPO tomorrow?
It's clearly a sentiment play, right? Sentiment is taking Bitcoin higher. And one thing I did want to ask you, CJ, just to play devil's advocate, because that's always more fun. If we are to have that correction, other people are hypothesizing, which I don't think it's all that likely either, but I think Bitcoin correcting is a lot more likely than Coinbase going to 200 billion this week in market cap. Where would we potentially end up, just so people, should it occur, maybe they wouldn't be surprised if they were smart enough to watch your solid insights here?
Well, why don't we draw some flatline support levels then and see where we may land and what would be kind of an optimal target if we were to backtest. So the first immediate level to me, which sticks out, is the level we just broke. That's the critical Fibonacci level of 61, 62K. That's what we've been battling for months, or I guess weeks now. And if that does not hold, however, I think it will, because it's been a strong resistance level. Now, if we can backtest it and form support, I think it's going to be a very strong level. The next one here would be 58. That's a level in which we've really had a lot of resistance. And so in theory, that would provide some pretty decent support on a possible back test. I think if we were to go one level below there, we would hit it because we hit both a support level here with that bullish hammer candle, and then we hit the candles here a couple more times. So overall, we have these flatline levels that ultimately start at 61, 58, and then 55. And then that's pretty much where the ascending triangle ends. So if we get down below 55, like, yeah, we'll have to do some serious considering, like, if this trend is kind of changing. But right now, we're just not really there yet. But 63, 58, 55, those are the levels.
And those are all palatable.
Yeah, they're not terrible. Not at all terrible.
Yeah, but I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to say that, I mean, beyond the 61K level, I don't see us retesting 58 or 55K. Not this week, or not ever, possibly. Because
whoa.
If I could just quickly share my screen, CJ, I want to just show something. So, we talked, like CJ, you said, we've been kind of consolidating for months, when you correct yourself to weeks. And, it does really feel like that. It feels like it's been forever that we've been kind of stuck in this ascending triangle. And I think we're due for a very strong second half of the month here in April. And let me just quickly explain why. So here is the end of March, this 5 red candle right here. We talked at the time on Trade the Chain about how the 52K strike price had a lot of open interest for the Bitcoin options that were expiring at the end of March. So there was a lot of sell pressure on the market, and it really drove price down to 52K. And one thing that we talked about a lot when that was happening is that once that sell pressure was sort of relieved, that would really allow us to kind of open up and create a new higher low. One thing we also talk a lot about is whale accumulation. And one thing that Whale Maps was talking a lot about was the level of whale accumulation that was occurring right here at these two doji candles of 60K. It's the most outflows or most inflows to large wallets that we've seen since this peak back here. So for me, that implies that people are holding the long term, and that for me creates a good price floor. But getting back to the options open interest, you know, I think that this breakout of the ascending triangle is really setting us up to kind of reach the expectations that traders had starting this month. And the most open interest for the Bitcoin options expirations at the end of April are actually all the way up here at 80K. Now, do I think we're going to get all the way up here? No, I think people will, you know, take some profits on those calls as we rapidly approach them. And I do think we will rapidly approach this level before the end of April. And, you know, we're halfway through the month now. So I'm expecting a really bullish second half of the month. And I think even if Coinbase, the listing, you know, even if the stock performs terribly upon listing, I still think the Bitcoin price is going to continue to rise. I think at the end of the day, this Coinbase direct listing is just, you know, a catalyst to get Bitcoin more in the news. We were talking about it this morning, and I think someone made a good point. You know, this is like Charles Schwab, and this is a comparison would be Charles Schwab and the stock market. You know, like just because Charles Schwab does poorly one day doesn't mean the whole stock market goes down. You know, Bitcoin's bigger than Coinbase. Bitcoin is the foundation upon which Coinbase derives its entire value. So do I think that the Coinbase listing is going to be that big of a deal? Ultimately, no. But I do think it's going to be good in the sense that it's going to just get a lot of eyes on Bitcoin, and it's going to be all over the news for the rest of the month.
You heard it here first. Monty, Coinbase, not a big deal.
That's why I love the honeypot, man. I mean,
Nothing burger.
Like CJ said, we've been talking about 75K and the signals heading in that direction for weeks now. And it looks like the momentum is going to keep going. So interesting stuff. Ryan, let's talk about what you've brought up about Stormx, ticker Stmx, and what's going on with it. We had a fantastic run up of Stmx earlier in the week. But what's happening now?
Sure. So I was chatting earlier with one of our members, good old Lucas Bradley, and we were talking about Stormx, and he pointed out to me that the last time there was a drawdown before a big run up, that drawdown was 10 days long, right? We're on day 8 of a drawdown now, and we're at an inflection point where Bitcoin is hitting a new all-time high. You have fervor around the markets reaching a fever pitch, and every time Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, eventually profits are taken, and then those profits rotate into altcoins. It seems like the perfect storm here, bad pun, but the perfect storm, X, where you have it hitting day 10 of that drawdown at about the same time people will be taking profits in Bitcoin, rotating them into altcoins. And yeah, this drawdown was kickstarted by them losing Walmart, Stormx that is, as a retail partner, but they still have a lot of solid retail partners in the likes of an Adidas, a Nike, and other big brands. In fact, they signed Nike to a deal in the UK as well in this time. So they've slowly been consolidating, it looks like, the project and people under it, because that drawdown wasn't as big as you'd think it would be after losing a retailer the size and scope of Walmart. And it just feels to me that maybe we're setting ourselves up for a potential run here, like we saw, a couple months ago, where it went up 100% in one day. I'm not saying it goes up 100% in one day, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did, with a market cap where it's at, a price where it's at, and the amount of capital coming into the markets.
Listen, I think that's a real reasonable explanation or analysis of what's, the cycle that it's been taken. And thanks to Lucas Bradley for your contribution in that with Ryan.
Yes, sir.
One of the things, and I believe Rob over at Digital Asset News actually has Simon on either today or this week sometime, which will be interesting to hear what he says on his show. He had a lot to say on ours last week. The one thing about Stmx is, in looking at the chart and looking at the price, the run-ups, the profit taking, the consolidation, it really has appeared healthy to me since it had that massive bull run. Like, it's done what it's expected to do. When the profit takers are going to go with such a parabolic run, when the consolidation happens, goes sideways, and then there's new news. That's the one good thing about Simon. He's a catalyst for timely news in a good repetitive fashion. I'm still holding strong with Stormx. I've added to my Stormx portfolio. I own it, full disclosure.
Same here.
And I will say that anybody who owns Stormx, just raise your hand.
Or say it, because we can only see one person with the chart.
Oh,
say
that's
aye.
right.
Aye.
But one of my prediction of 25 cents in the medium term and possibly $1 in the extended term is still on. I haven't wavered from that position at all. And if you call me crazy, well, hey, listen, remember when this thing was down, what are we looking at? It was just a couple of months ago, it was down, I don't even know how many hundredths of a cent. And it's gone as high as a 0.99. So don't call me crazy.
Alex, there was once, there were people who used to call the guy who paid 30,000 Bitcoin for a slice of pizza, for one pizza. They called him crazy for owning 30,000 Bitcoin. People aren't calling that person crazy anymore, except for the fact that he bought the pizza with the Bitcoin. Bitcoin's gone mainstream, and Stormx, it feels like it's more well-positioned than other projects to go mainstream, just because of the reward structure it has set up, the retail affiliates it has, and how, it's taken cash back and like points that cards offer to an entirely different level by offering something that can appreciate in value over time and help people build wealth just for doing things they already do. Buying a pair of sneakers, shopping for baby clothes. I don't know. These are two things that I do often, so they pop into my head, but you get the idea.
I mean, and you're spot on, right? So one of the great things that's built around this is a rewards package for the consumers. And the thing is that when there's a whole bunch of nothing behind a whole bunch of crap coins, I tend to cling to the ones that actually have something feasible. It's the replacement for fundamental and sentiment analysis. When I cruise Twitter and I read those excerpts from people who say, "Hey, listen, I just bought this on Stormx. I love it. I got paid back in my choice of Bitcoin, Ethereum, this, and I'm making 15% APY." All that's a use case, and it excites me, and so that's why I hold my position in this. And thanks for bringing that analysis.
Absolutely. Despite the market and the sentiment around the market being good today, our next segment, it's proof that a rising tide doesn't lift all ships, I guess, right?
Well, hold on a second now.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. This is like your dream come true. When a
No. I never root for anything to fail. I never root for being cynical about something doesn't mean I'm rooting for something to fail. If Microstrategy fails, it takes a lot of people's personal net worth.
No, you're right.
I don't want that to happen.
Listen, to have a bulge bracket bank classify MicroStrategy stock as a cryptocurrency because it's so intertwined with Bitcoin, who would have thunk it?
I mean, are you surprised? What other value does the company have? I mean, it's just grinded sideways for 2 decades. And now all of a sudden it goes parabolically higher because it buys Bitcoin. The thing that really gets me about this, though, is HSBC isn't exactly the world's most compliant bank, right? Since 2000, they've got, 59 records, citations, and they've paid $6.5 billion worth of fines, including for helping a notorious gangster, and this is in the BBC, by the way, a notorious gangster funnel money from the UK through the US into Hong Kong, and they paid a $1.9 billion fine for that. So it would be one thing if this wasn't one of the most fined banks on High Street or Wall Street, right? It's HSBC, guys, come on. Like they're the ones who are saying you can't hold MicroStrategy in your portfolio with us. You can't buy MicroStrategy. I mean, Jesus. I would expect this from like a more staid bank, like a North Street maybe, or even a Goldman Sachs, which they've paid their fair share of fines too, but nothing like what's gone on with HSBC. And their reputation is a bit better than HSBC's, of course. So I'm just,
I see the comment section looking like a live chat right now. Just
this is hilarious. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just they don't see it as a legitimate company anymore when they've done banking for mobsters. Like that's basically what this distills down to. They'll do business with mobsters, but they won't do business with anyone who wants to hold MicroStrategy. That's wild.
I will say I do think it's unfair to, that's the same argument that people had with Robinhood when they couldn't fill the net cap requirement for the shorts from Wall Street Bets, and all of a sudden alienated people from buying the stocks. For HSB to do this, I tend to side with MicroStrategies on this.
Oh no, I'm completely in agreement there. If people want to own MicroStrategy stock, they should be allowed to harm their bottom line. I mean, if ultimately I'm not rooting for MicroStrategy to fail, like I said before. I don't
know if CJ Monty even want to
get
a
house of cards. If they want to hold that house of cards, then let them.
So, Ryan, given this like awful concoction that MicroStrategy is, or what you claim it to be, like how do we benefit from that? How can we short it? What's the perfect time to act on this information?
I'm not at all. I would never short MicroStrategy or Bitcoin. I'd get my face ripped off because the entire community would rally behind it just to make sure I lose money if I publicly said I did it. So no, I don't think you should short it. I just think it's absurd that a bank with 59 citations and $6.5 billion worth of fines over 20 years says that you can't hold a stock that's publicly traded, adhering to all rules more or less. They're filing their quarterly filings. They're more transparent than HSBC is. This is bizarre.
How about that Dogecoin?
I bet they let people hold Doge.
Listen, we don't like to cover it, or I shouldn't say that we don't cover. Most people don't cover it, but you do have this XRP at over $1.80, and that's enough to bring attention to it. So I think maybe this week sometime we get to take a look at it and figure out why. Look at that.
Sorry, this is Doge.
Doge. You
Oh.
tricked me.
One thing I want to say though about XRP is that if there are any bag owners out there, or anyone who has held XRP this long through and through, please let us know, because that is quite a feat. And,
absolutely.
God bless you.
Yeah, well done. I mean, if people made money off this, good for them. I'm happy for them. Well done.
And let's be fair to XRP for a moment here. Is they have their issues going on, which is not guilty or innocent. It's just an action with the CFTC. But everywhere else around the world, XRP is being used the way it should, the way it normally was prior to that. So the US is not the world. It's only a part of it, and the crypto market is global. So
that's a good point, right, Alex? Because we were talking yesterday about Binance Chain and what would happen to Binance Coin, BNB, if the US government decided, hey, we're going to crack down on you. We don't like you. Get out, right? Binance doesn't care. And, I think XRP is proof that it doesn't matter if you're in the US for a crypto project, right? Because they've not only done well, they've excelled, at least from a market cap standpoint and from a token value standpoint, since they've ceased doing business in the US. It's almost like that regulatory, I don't want to say burden, but that regulatory hurdle that companies face, that projects face for being in the US, it's almost like it's a detriment to their value, because people are unsure what the US government is going to do, what the SEC is going to do with some of these projects, because they're in a gray area. So freeing themselves from that, potentially, it looks like it might be a net positive for some projects.
Listen, I don't hold XRP. I will never hold XRP. I thought about it once in 2017. But I'm an arbitrage, I'm an arbitrage guy. So if any of the folks owned it, below 50 cents, drop it in the comments, let us know. Because if you owned it at 50 cents or less and you have it at $1.80 or more, you're a master. Enjoy the moment. So
Indeed. I'm still waiting for what's going on with that airdrop. Whatever happened to that?
oh yeah, what happened to that airdrop? We all got excited. You participated in it.
I put Boku bucks into XRP for that airdrop, lost a bunch of bucks,
Spark.
and then
It's a Spark thing, right?
yeah, Spark. That's what it was. I even forgot the
can't
name of it. It's been so long. What, we're almost 6 months on now, 5 months on.
We'll see. Hopefully you get your Spark tokens, and that's that. Again, folks, anybody else have anything to say before we call it a day?
No, I think I'm good.
I like CJ's Tron background.
I like that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
He's had a few backgrounds today.
Oh, has he been toggling through during the episode? That's interesting.
No, CJ's hasn't changed. So I changed mine once, but
Yeah, you keep calling Monty CJ. You've done it twice now.
Who? Me?
Alex. Yeah, disrespectful.
Oh, now it's disrespectful. Now I'm gonna get hit up in the comments. You know what it is because you had a lot of days off, my man. All right.
Yeah, days off. That's exactly what it was. Okay,
Pot
says
meat
the
kettle,
guy
Alex.
that's sitting in
Alex.
Puerto Rico buying a
I was
goddamn
gonna say,
cow.
pot meat kettle. Real quickly, Alex, tomorrow, a live stream for the Coinbase listing. Yeah.
Maybe let's do it. Let's find out what time the Coinbase thing is.
Yeah, absolutely.
IEO. Now I'm talking crypto talk. The direct
listing, just a direct listing. It's not an IPO. It's just a direct listing.
Yeah, if the direct listing is during if we're not in meetings or I'm not asleep, yeah, let's see about doing that. We'll find out about it right now after the show. CJ, you got something to say? And I meant CJ that time.
Yeah, no, I was saying like maybe if we could do some live trading on it just for fun. But I don't want to get everybody's expectations too high before we
listen, people, prepare for disappointment tomorrow. But if
it depends on what side of the fence you're sitting on. If you want CJ to make money, you might be disappointed. But if you want the stock to go down, you might be delighted.
If things happen correctly, we'll be live streaming and possibly live trading tomorrow with the Coinbase direct offering. Again, prepare to be disappointed, but that's our plan in our head now. Don't forget, subscribe, smash that like, Hulk the like, whatever the new term is.
Hulk the like button. Hulk smash.
And definitely, I think Rob has some interesting stuff, so check that out. And also don't forget about late this afternoon, this evening with CJ Monty. If you're a Market Rebellion member, they're going up against the Options Oracle. Ooh. AJ Monty, and we'll see what he has to do, because I don't get to see him very often dipping into the crypto side of Market Rebellion. So I don't know, maybe CJ and Monty will school him or something. We'll see. But check that out, and we'll be back again tomorrow, folks. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget the new term of the day. It's honey pot, not honey hole.